What if the most powerful brain medicine on Earth wasn't locked inside a pharmaceutical lab, but sitting in your kitchen right now, waiting for you to eat it before bed? Every night while you sleep, your brain runs a biological repair program. It consolidates memories, clears toxic waste through the glymphatic system, generates new neurons, and rebuilds damaged connections. What you eat before that program runs determines how completely it works. Fruit number 5 on this list was studied in a double-blind clinical trial at a major U.S. research institute showing measurable improvements in long-term memory. And its primary compound is the only natural molecule ever shown to clear senescent cells from the aging brain. Fruit number 8 is one of the only natural food sources of melatonin on Earth, the exact hormone that triggers the deep sleep stage where your brain performs its most critical repair work. Here are 12 fruits that repair brain cells and memory while you sleep. Let's begin. Fruit 1. Blueberries. No fruit on Earth has been studied more extensively for brain health, with results across dozens of clinical trials that keep arriving at the same conclusion. Blueberries contain anthocyanins, water-soluble pigments that cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate specifically in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the two regions most critical for memory formation and cognitive performance. Research published in scientific reports confirmed blueberry supplementation stimulates BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the protein the brain uses to grow new neurons and strengthen existing connections. BDNF is sometimes called miracle grow for the brain. Low BDNF is directly associated with Alzheimer's disease, depression, and accelerated cognitive decline. A 6-month, double-blind, placebo-controlled randomized trial published in Nutritional Neuroscience found participants with mild cognitive decline who consumed wild blueberry powder daily showed significant improvements in brain processing speed. For sleep specifically, blueberry anthocyanins reduce neuroinflammation in the hippocampus, creating a cleaner biological environment for the memory consolidation that occurs during REM sleep each night. A landmark study in the Annals of Neurology following over 16,000 women found those with the highest combined blueberry and strawberry intake showed a delay in cognitive aging of up to 2.5 years. How to use: 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries daily. Wild blueberries contain significantly more anthocyanins than cultivated varieties. Consistent daily consumption over weeks produces the most measurable brain benefits, not occasional use. Fruit 2 has been consumed for over 4,000 years across civilizations that understood it was medicine for the mind. And what it does inside aging neurons explains why. Fruit 2. Pomegranate. Pomegranate contains punicalagins and urolithins, polyphenol compounds with antioxidant capacity significantly higher than green tea or red wine that cross the blood-brain barrier and support cellular cleanup in neurons. Urolithins activate mitophagy, the cellular process that clears damaged mitochondria from brain cells. Damaged mitochondria accumulate in aging neurons and are directly linked to cognitive decline in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. A placebo-controlled randomized trial published in Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine found older adults who drank 8 ounces of pomegranate juice daily for 4 weeks showed significant improvement in verbal memory scores. The same group showed increased fMRI brain activation during verbal and visual memory tasks, confirming measurable effects at the level of brain activity itself, not just self-reported perception. A 12-month randomized double-blind trial of 261 subjects published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found daily pomegranate juice consumption stabilized the ability to learn visual information over 1 year. For overnight brain repair, pomegranate polyphenols reduce amyloid beta burden, the protein deposits that accumulate during waking hours and are cleared by the brain's glymphatic waste system during deep sleep. How to use: 240 milliliters of pure pomegranate juice daily or the seeds of 1 whole pomegranate. Choose juice with no added sugar. The whole fruit delivers more fiber alongside the polyphenols. Both matter. Fruit 3 provides 3 nutrients that the brain specifically requires for overnight cellular repair, and most people eat it at lunch when it would work harder for them in the evening. Fruit 3. Avocado. Approximately 60% of the human brain is fat. The monounsaturated fats in avocado are directly incorporated into neuronal cell membranes, improving their flexibility and the speed at which electrical signals travel between neurons. Avocado contains lutein, a carotenoid that accumulates in neural tissue and has been shown in clinical research to directly correlate with improved cognitive performance and memory accuracy in older adults. A randomized controlled trial found that daily avocado consumption for 6 months significantly improved working memory and attention in healthy older adults compared to a control group eating a low-fat fruit. Avocado also contains vitamin E, the fat-soluble antioxidant that protects neuronal cell membranes from oxidative damage that accumulates during waking hours and is repaired during sleep. Folate and vitamin K in avocado support the methylation processes that repair neuronal DNA damage during sleep and help protect against homocysteine accumulation, a compound linked to hippocampal damage and memory decline that the brain specifically works to clear overnight. How to use 1/2 to 1 whole avocado daily. The combination of healthy fats, folate, and lutein makes avocado most effective when consumed consistently, not occasionally. Evening consumption aligns its fat-soluble vitamins with the overnight repair cycle they support. Fruit 4 works on the structure of the hippocampus itself, the brain region most vulnerable to aging and most responsible for converting daily experiences into permanent long-term memories. Fruit 4. Grapes. Dark Concord grapes contain resveratrol, one of the most studied neuroprotective compounds in modern neuroscience. Resveratrol activates SIRT1, a longevity gene that reduces inflammation and enhances the brain's ability to form and consolidate long-term memories. SIRT1 activation is associated with improved synaptic plasticity in the hippocampus, meaning the connections between neurons become more efficient at storing information. A randomized controlled trial published in NeuroImage found resveratrol supplementation significantly improved memory performance and increased functional hippocampal connectivity in healthy older adults, from NeuroImage study about resveratrol over 6 months. Concord grape juice has been specifically studied in adults with mild cognitive impairment. A trial published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found grape juice supplementation for 16 weeks improved memory scores and increased brain activation in memory-related regions on functional imaging. Resveratrol also stimulates BDNF production and crosses the blood-brain barrier efficiently, making grapes one of the few fruits that address both the structural integrity and the chemical signaling of the aging hippocampus simultaneously. How to use 1 to 2 cups of dark Concord or red grapes daily. Pure Concord grape juice with no added sugar delivers concentrated polyphenols when whole fruit isn't available. Consistent daily consumption produces more measurable effects than occasional use. Fruit 5 contains the only natural molecule ever shown to remove senescent cells from the aging brain, cells that accumulate over decades and drive the neuroinflammation behind cognitive decline. Fruit 5. Strawberries. Strawberries contain the highest concentration of fisetin of any commonly consumed fruit, a flavonoid that researchers at the Salk Institute have studied intensively for over a decade. The Salk Institute found that fisetin stimulates signaling pathways that enhance long-term memory, activating the same cellular pathway involved in long-term potentiation, the mechanism by which the brain physically stores memories. Further, Salk research confirmed fisetin prevents progressive memory and learning impairments in mice genetically programmed to develop Alzheimer's disease, while significantly reducing neuroinflammation. Most significantly, fisetin acts as a senolytic compound, promoting the clearance of senescent brain cells in the cortex and hippocampus. Senescent cells are damaged cells that stop dividing but refuse to die, instead releasing inflammatory signals that damage neighboring healthy neurons. They accumulate with age and are increasingly recognized as a primary driver of cognitive decline. Fisetin is the only naturally occurring dietary compound with documented senolytic activity in neural tissue. Human clinical trials are currently underway. Strawberries also contain pelargonidin, an anthocyanin shown to reduce amyloid beta accumulation and tau protein tangles, the 2 hallmark features of Alzheimer's brain pathology. How to use 1 cup of fresh or frozen strawberries daily. Research confirms frozen strawberries retain their fisetin and polyphenol content effectively. Consistent intake over months produces cumulative neuroprotective effects. I want to pause here for a moment, not to break the flow, but to give you something real. If you're the kind of person who watches a video like this all the way through, you deserve more than information. You deserve a practical guide you can actually use, one that tells you exactly how to source each of these fruits in their most effective form. how to prepare and time them correctly, and how to build them into a daily routine that fits real life. I put that guide together, and it's in the first pinned comment below. No pressure. But if you're serious about what we're talking about, I think you'll find it genuinely useful. Now let's keep going. The next 7 fruits are the ones that surprised me most. Fruit 6. Oranges and citrus. The brain contains the highest concentration of vitamin C of any organ in the body, maintaining levels up to 10 times higher than blood plasma. That fact alone tells you how critically the brain depends on this nutrient. And oranges are one of the most reliable dietary sources of it. Vitamin C is a required cofactor for synthesizing neurotransmitters, including dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, all of which regulate mood, focus, and memory formation throughout the day and during sleep. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found adults with the highest blood levels of vitamin C performed significantly better on tests of memory, attention, and cognitive processing speed. Citrus fruits also contain hesperidin, a flavonoid shown in clinical research to improve cerebral blood flow, ensuring neurons receive the oxygen and glucose required for efficient overnight repair and memory consolidation. Vitamin C is also essential for maintaining blood-brain barrier integrity, protecting neurons from the inflammatory compounds that accumulate during waking hours and that the brain specifically works to clear during deep sleep. How to use 1 to 2 whole oranges daily rather than juice, preserving the hesperidin in the fruit membrane that juice processing removes. Grapefruit, lemon, and mandarin are excellent sources of the same brain-protective flavonoids. Fruit 7 is one of the most unexpected brain foods on this list, and the part of it most people discard contains the highest concentration of the compound that makes it valuable. Fruit 7. Figs. Most people associate figs with digestion or Mediterranean cuisine. Almost nobody knows that figs contain one of the most direct sleep-inducing nutritional profiles of any fruit, combining tryptophan, serotonin precursors, magnesium, and vitamin B6 in a package that addresses the entire pathway from dietary intake to overnight brain repair. Figs contain tryptophan, the essential amino acid the brain converts into serotonin and then into melatonin through a process that requires vitamin B6 as a cofactor. Figs contain that cofactor. This means figs provide both the raw material for melatonin synthesis and the enzyme assistant required to complete the conversion, a rare nutritional combination. Figs are also one of the richest plant sources of magnesium, the mineral that activates the GABA receptors responsible for quieting neuronal activity and initiating the transition into deep, slow-wave sleep. Research has shown that magnesium deficiency, present in a significant portion of adults over 50, directly impairs sleep architecture and reduces the time spent in the deep sleep stage where memory consolidation and glymphatic clearance occur. Dried figs concentrate all of these compounds significantly. The skin contains the highest density of active polyphenols, the part most commonly discarded. How to use: 3 to 4 dried figs consumed 60 to 90 minutes before sleep, with the skin on. Pair with a small amount of almond butter or walnut to slow digestion and extend tryptophan release through the night. This is one of the simplest evening brain support protocols available. Fruit 8 is one of the only natural food sources of melatonin on Earth. Not a precursor to melatonin, actual melatonin. And the chain of effects it triggers overnight goes deeper than most people understand. Fruit 8. Tart cherries. Tart Montmorency cherries are one of the only foods on Earth that contain melatonin in its complete form. Not just tryptophan or serotonin precursors, but the finished hormone itself. And the connection between melatonin, sleep depth, and brain repair is one of the most important findings in sleep neuroscience. Melatonin does not simply make you sleepy. It regulates the depth and quality of slow-wave sleep, the stage during which the brain's glymphatic system flushes amyloid beta and other metabolic waste from neural tissue. This is the stage that fails first in people developing Alzheimer's disease. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found tart cherry juice significantly elevated melatonin levels and increased total sleep time and sleep efficiency in 20 healthy adults over 7 days. A separate pilot study published in the American Journal of Therapeutics found older adults with chronic insomnia who drank tart cherry juice twice daily for 2 weeks increased total sleep time by 84 minutes on polysomnography. The chain is precise, More tart cherries, higher melatonin, more slow-wave sleep, more glymphatic clearance, less amyloid beta accumulation, better memory the following day. Tart cherries also contain cyanidin compounds and anthocyanins shown to reduce neuroinflammation and protect dopaminergic neurons from oxidative stress. How to use? 240 milliliters of pure tart cherry juice, 30 to 60 minutes before sleep. Choose 100% Montmorency cherry juice with no added sugar. Consistent nightly use over 1 to 2 weeks produces the most measurable effects on sleep quality and the downstream brain benefits that follow. Fruit 9 builds the bridge that makes deep sleep neurologically possible, and the timing of when you eat it matters more than most people realize. Fruit 9. Bananas. Bananas contain tryptophan, the essential amino acid the brain uses to synthesize both serotonin and melatonin. Without adequate tryptophan, the brain cannot produce sufficient melatonin to enter deep, slow-wave sleep. Without deep, slow-wave sleep, memory consolidation is impaired, and glymphatic clearance is incomplete. Bananas are also one of the best dietary sources of vitamin B6, the cofactor required for converting tryptophan into serotonin. Without B6, tryptophan cannot complete its conversion into the neurotransmitters the brain needs for quality sleep architecture. Research has shown that vitamin B6 supplementation improves dream recall and vividness, indicating deeper engagement of the hippocampus during REM sleep, the phase when emotional memories are processed and consolidated. Bananas also provide magnesium and potassium, two minerals that relax the nervous system and reduce elevated cortisol that, when present at night, suppresses REM sleep and directly impairs memory consolidation. The riper the banana, the higher the tryptophan bioavailability. As the starch converts to sugar, the tryptophan becomes more readily available for conversion. A green banana and a ripe banana are biochemically different foods for the purposes of overnight brain repair. How to use? One ripe banana consumed 60 to 90 minutes before sleep. Pairing with a small amount of healthy fat slows digestion and extends tryptophan release through the night rather than delivering it in a single early spike. Fruit 10 has the most direct clinical evidence of any fruit on this list for improving the specific sleep conditions that allow overnight brain repair to occur, and the study results are precise enough to quote exactly. Fruit 10, kiwi. A clinical study published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition found participants who ate 2 kiwis 1 hour before sleep nightly for 4 weeks experienced a 42% reduction in sleep onset latency, meaning they fell asleep significantly faster. Total sleep time increased by 13.4%, and sleep efficiency improved by 5.41%, meaning participants spent significantly more of their time in bed in productive restorative sleep rather than lying awake. Less time to fall asleep and more total sleep time means more time in the deep sleep and REM stages where brain repair, memory consolidation, and neurogenesis specifically occur. Kiwi contains serotonin, folate, and antioxidants that work through multiple simultaneous pathways to improve sleep quality, reduce neuroinflammation, and support the methylation processes that repair neuronal DNA damage overnight. Kiwi is one of the richest sources of vitamin C alongside citrus, providing dual support for neurotransmitter synthesis and blood-brain barrier integrity, both essential for overnight neural repair. The folate in kiwi helps control homocysteine levels. Elevated homocysteine damages the vascular supply to the hippocampus and is directly linked to accelerated memory decline with age. How to use? 2 kiwis consumed 1 hour before sleep, exactly as used in the clinical trial. Both green and gold kiwi varieties contain the relevant serotonin and folate content. 4 weeks of consistent nightly use produces the most measurable improvements in sleep architecture and the cognitive benefits that follow. Fruit 11 produces an effect that researchers described as remarkable for a dietary compound. It activates the same receptor system as pharmaceutical sleep medications, without the dependency or morning cognitive impairment. Fruit 11. Passion fruit. Passion fruit contains chrysin, a flavonoid with documented activity on GABA-A receptors, the same receptor system targeted by benzodiazepine sleep medications. GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain. It quiets neuronal activity and initiates the transition into sleep. Chrysin modulates GABA-A receptor sensitivity in a way that promotes deeper sleep without the receptor desensitization that creates dependency with pharmaceutical GABA modulators. a study found passion fruit extract supplementation significantly improved sleep quality, reduced nighttime waking, and decreased sleep latency in participants with mild sleep disturbance. The mechanism is distinct from sedation. Chrysin does not impair cognitive function upon waking the way pharmaceutical GABA activators do, because it acts as a modulator rather than a direct agonist. For overnight brain repair, this matters. Deep sleep achieved through GABA modulation that preserves sleep architecture, quality produces more complete glymphatic clearance than sedation that suppresses REM stages. Passion fruit also provides a significant vitamin C content and plant-based iron, both of which support neurotransmitter synthesis and overnight neuronal repair processes. The seeds contain pixetanol, a compound structurally related to resveratrol with its own documented anti-inflammatory effects in neural tissue. How to use? The pulp of 1 to 2 passion fruits consumed 60 minutes before sleep, or passion fruit juice without added sugar. The seeds are edible and contribute the pixetanol. Eat the whole fruit, seeds included. And fruit 12. This one surprised me more than any other on this list when I first researched it, because it's the only fruit ever studied specifically for its effect on serum melatonin levels in humans. And the result was not a modest improvement. Fruit 12. Pineapple. A study published in the Journal of Pineal Research found that pineapple consumption increased serum melatonin levels by 266%. Not milligrams. Not a marginal bump. 266%, making pineapple one of the most potent dietary melatonin-boosting foods ever measured in a human study. The mechanism involves the high tryptophan and serotonin content in pineapple acting as upstream precursors that the pineal gland converts to melatonin more efficiently than from most other dietary sources. Pineapple also contains bromelain, a proteolytic enzyme with documented anti-inflammatory effects that reduce systemic inflammation, including neuroinflammation. Chronic low-grade neuroinflammation is one of the primary factors that degrades sleep quality and impairs the overnight brain repair cycle over years and decades. Bromelain specifically reduces levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, including TNF-alpha and IL-6, two inflammatory markers directly associated with poor sleep architecture and reduced glymphatic efficiency. Pineapple is also one of the richest dietary sources of manganese, a trace mineral required for the synthesis of superoxide dismutase, one of the brain's primary internal antioxidant enzymes. For a fruit most people eat casually and rarely, pineapple's overnight brain support profile is one of the most underappreciated findings in nutritional neuroscience. How to use? 1 cup of fresh pineapple consumed 60 to 90 minutes before sleep. Fresh pineapple preserves the bromelain content. Heat processing deactivates the enzyme. Canned pineapple retains the tryptophan and serotonin precursors, but loses the bromelain entirely. Before I close, let me say something directly. You just watched through 12 fruits, every single one. Most people won't. Most click away before they reach the fruits with the most specific mechanisms, the ones that address the actual biology of what happens in your brain between the moment you fall asleep and the moment you wake up. But you stayed, and that tells me you're serious about this. So here's what I want to offer you, the complete practical guide for everything we covered today: how to source each fruit in its most effective form, how to time them correctly, and how to build a real evening routine from these 12 foods. And right now, for anyone who made it to the end of this video, I'm offering 20% off. Use the code FULLVIDEO at checkout. The link is in the first pinned comment below. No countdown, no pressure. Just my way of honoring the people who show up and pay attention all the way through. The code is FULLVIDEO. It's waiting for you. Every fruit on this list works through a different mechanism, but they all converge on the same outcome: better sleep architecture, less neuroinflammation, more BDNF, cleaner glymphatic clearance, and stronger memory consolidation every single night. The brain's nightly repair program is already built in. It runs whether you support it or not. The question is what you give it to work with. These 12 fruits give it the compounds it needs to run at full capacity. Not occasionally, not when you remember, but consistently, because consistency is what the biology requires. You do not need pharmaceutical intervention. You need the right fruit, eaten at the right time, with the right consistency. That's the entire protocol. Tell me in the comments, which fruit on this list surprised you most? Which one are you adding to your evening routine first? And if you've been eating any of these already, have you noticed a difference in your sleep or your memory? I read every comment. Share this with someone who is struggling with sleep or concerned about their memory. This information is not complicated, but it is powerful, and most people will never hear it framed this way. Subscribe and ring the bell. Next week, we go deeper into what happens in your brain overnight and the foods that determine how well it works. I'll see you in the next one.